So, the Queen. Yes, so I said to the equerry, I'd love to meet the Queen. Would it be possible? I know she mingles with those assembled here today. And he said, oh, yes, it's very possible. You just form a semicircle, smile, and if she happens to glance in your direction, see you smiling, she will come towards you and have a conversation. So I thought, right, I'll do that. Now, as I say always, it's not easy to form a semicircle when you're on your own. So I gathered a couple of other people, and we formed a semicircle, and we pasted a smile, an absolutely intense, glowing smile on our faces, and looked towards where we saw the Queen was standing with some people, and she happened to turn around, and she happened to see this group of painfully smiling people. So she came over to us, and she stood in front of me, and she said, "And what do you do?" And instead of replying in a normal way, Ma'am, I read books on tape, audio books, I said, Your Majesty, I am the best reader of stories in the whole world. Well, of course, she looked at me and she went, and immediately moved away to the next person at my side. And she said, and what do you do? And he said, well, Ma'am, I teach dyslexic children to read. And we've discovered that if the pages in the book are different colors and the words are printed in different colors, that helps children to absorb the information more quickly and easily. I, standing next to him, was fascinated by this, and so I interrupted the conversation and said, really, my goodness, I didn't know that. That's amazing. And Her Majesty turned to me, furious at my rudeness in interrupting them, and said, be quiet. Well, everybody looked down with embarrassment, but I refused to be downed by this. And so I said, I'm so sorry, Your Majesty, I got carried away with excitement. And she thought, oh, God. And you could see that. And she started to tell us a story about how she'd been at a school that day. I was at a school in North London and at a literature class, and I was hearing how they, and she went on describing this educational event that she'd been present at. And I interrupted her again and said, well, you see, Your Majesty, we're so lucky to be English because we have the best literature in the world. We have Dickens and Shakespeare and Wordsworth and Charles Lamb and Byron and Elizabeth Barrett Browning. And I went through the syllabus, you see, and I see her eyes glazing over. And I said, imagine, for example, Your Majesty, if we had been born, and I paused trying to find a country that had a small amount of literature or no literature at all. And I finally landed up with, if we had been born Albanian. At this, she was deeply worried and anxious, I think, and she backed away from me, saying, yes, and tottered off. It was me at my worst. I'd latched on to this poor lady and wouldn't let go and wouldn't stop talking. And anyway, it really happened, and I'm slightly embarrassed by it, but that is...
Has she invited you back ever since?
Never.
So this was